Good morning from St. John, New Brunswick in Canada, the beautiful city on the spectacular Bay of Fundy, where the water level rises a staggering 4 stories 2 times a day. We get a gorgeous look of the bay. It's a beautiful day here in St. John. The 4th day of the Women's World Curling Championships is brought to you by Ford. And here we are coming up on the venue, Harbor Station, downtown St. John. City of 70,000. Getting a look at some of our teams and their traditional march in. Today's feature matchup, Team Denmark versus Team Sweden. Denmark coming off a tough loss to undefeated Switzerland last night. Hopes to climb back into the win column up the leaderboard a bit. It'll be a tough task as they're facing Team Sweden, reigning European gold medalists, world and Olympic silver medalists. There's our feature teams. Denmark throwing the red stones, Sweden throwing yellow. And we'll get close-up looks at our players here. Playing lead for Team Denmark, Lena Knudsen. Second, Christine Svensson. Third, Denise DuPont. And at Skips Rocks, her sister, Madeline DuPont. Very experienced back-end players here at the world level. For Team Sweden, the skip who throws lead stones, Margareta Sigfridsson. Second, Maria Wennerström. Third, Christina Bertrup. And throwing the last stones for Sweden, Maria Pritz. As we take a look at our leaderboard, the standings, Switzerland undefeated at 5-0. Canada and Sweden tied for 2nd place at 4-1. And then a bit of a long jam at 3rd place. United States. And then we see the bottom half of the standings. You see Denmark there at 1-4. They're going to really try and get this win here today in order to move a bit up the leaderboard. After the last shot draw, Team Sweden was closer to the center of the circles, and they will have the hammer. Some of the other games taking place this morning, Russia versus Scotland, Korea versus the Czech Republic, and Latvia will be playing the host nation, Canada, right next door to us on Sheet D. So from Sheet C, Denmark will throw the first rocks. We get final high fives, last minute checks on game plans. And Sweden uses an untraditional lineup as Maria Pritz, who throws the last rocks, takes the house as vice skip for the lead stones. So we'll see a little bit of a unique rotation here this morning from the Swedish team. Here we go with the first rock. Lina Knudsen. This stone looking a little hot. The sweeper's backing right off. Maybe a little bit of adrenaline here this morning for Lina. This provides Sweden a great chance to go on the offense right out of the gate. Margareta Sigfridsson. Margareta is the skip of the team. She will call the strategy and the line on stones for the last 6 rocks for her team. This team coming off a spectacular appearance at the 2014 Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia, where they brought home the silver medal.
I think that stone is not so good.
So Lina Knudsen looking to better her first stone. Put this one in the rings. Draw away from the corner guard. Put the play into the rings, but stay away from that corner guard that Sweden has up there. So Sweden will elect to take the Danish stone out of play. A nice hit and roll there to bring play over towards that corner guard. Now we'll get the first rock from second Christine Svensson. She is the youngest member of Team Denmark. She's also the skip of Denmark's junior team that played at the Junior World Championships in Flim, Switzerland this year. With that hit and roll out, it gives Sweden a chance to go underneath that corner guard. Maria Wennerström. Second stones for Team Sweden. Patiently waiting for this stone to curl. Slips just behind the tee line to the back of the 12-foot. So Denmark's going to try and take this stone out with weight just through the rings. Maybe a little less takeout weight than she just threw, as it's got to curl quite a bit more. Sweeper's working this very hard to get by the corner, and just not enough there for Team Denmark. And our rules of play, we have to play 6 ends minimum of a 10-end match. Each team is given 73 minutes to play the game, and each team is allowed 1 coach interaction. It is similar to a timeout, but the clock only stops for a brief period of time, and the coach is allowed to chat with their athletes for 1 minute. while the team's clock continues to run. So Denise DuPont will get to throw her first rock towards her sister Madeline in this opening game this morning. She'll be asked to play a takeout and roll to the other side of the rings towards the second Swedish counter. A very well executed shot by Team Denmark. And that rock stayed shot, so Team Sweden has to contend with it. And this is great news for Team Denmark, as both the Swedish stones should stay close enough together to have an option to play a double takeout on Team Denmark's next rock. This is Christina Bertrup, two-time Olympian. She played in Salt Lake City in 2002 and then won a silver medal in 2014. A nice shot, but as you can see, those rocks are now closer together. Denise DuPont has a chance with her last great hit and roll to make a double and help prevent Sweden from scoring 2 points with that ever-powerful last rock hammer. Sweepers working very hard on this one. Just curls up a hair. Sometimes you'll find that in the first couple of rocks in the first end, the pebble is still sharp. So the pebble is the surface of the ice that looks a bit like an orange peel and allows the stone to travel in a smooth way. Christina Bertrup, third stones for Team Sweden. Uncharacteristic hit and roll out for Team Sweden. A bit of a lost opportunity there to easily generate a score of 2 points. Madeline DuPont. Skip of this team. She was the skip of the 2010 Olympic team from Denmark and recently beat Lene Nielsen, who competed at the 2014 Olympic Games for Team Denmark. With a wide open house, Team Sweden will look just to put a rock into play, trying to decide a location that may cause Madeline DuPont and Team Denmark a little bit of trouble. Maria Pritz throwing a counterclockwise rotating draw into the rings. Curlers call that an out turn. Sweepers Maria Wennerström and Christina Bertrup take good care of this rock, sweeping it right into the rings. So Madeline DuPont will try and take that Swedish stone out of play while keeping her shooter around. Young sweepers on a nice firm takeout. Hits it right on the nose. Nice shot for Team Denmark. That was a great end for Team Denmark, keeping things nice and simple, executing when they had the chance, forcing a small half shot by Sweden, which will prevent any chance for a score of multiple points. The ever-steady Maria Pritz with her last shot hammer in the first end, looking to take out Team Denmark's stone while rolling her shooter out of play, and does so with ease. So that's the end of the first end. Score 0-0. Sweden will retain the hammer, moving into the second end of play. We get a great shot of the teams having their between-end meetings. Canada, our host nation here for the 2014 World Women's Curling Championships. As we take a look across the sheets of play, we'll see that there is no score in Russia-Scotland on sheet A. No score, Korea versus the Czech Republic on sheet B. And Canada opened with a score of 2 to be up 2-0 on Team Latvia. And as we get set to start the second end, I'd like to welcome Richard Harding to our broadcast here this morning. Richard, how are you?
Perfect. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you so much. So Team Denmark had a nice opening end, kept things simple, capitalized on a half shot by Team Sweden, and held Sweden to the blank. Here we've got a much better start for Lena Knudsen, nicely setting that rock right in the top of the button. Team Sweden is not concerned with that rock. They are going to throw a corner guard and try and generate some offense. Now, corner guard puts a rock into play in front of the scoring area and helps create a guard situation, something that the other teams have to navigate, a place where they can hide their stones behind. Now Lena Knudsen will be asked to put a guard up, blocking her rock that she put on top of the button. So this rock's going to slip into the rings, which is a fine spot for it to go. Now I think you're going to see Team Sweden deal with these 2 stones. So it's a nice control weight takeout from Margareta Sigfridsson, where she'll try and roll her shooter underneath her corner guard. Just coming up to nose a bit. A great shot as she sits in the control position. It may not have been her first shot selection, but a great outcome nonetheless.
Well, Anne, I think the Danish team have to hang in here through the early ends against Sweden, because I suspect the onslaught from this experienced team will be fairly severe in the first half of this game, and I'm sure you have experienced that over the years playing against them.
Yeah, Team Sweden are consummate competitors. They really bring a lot of offense to the game. They like rocks in play. They know how to handle them, and they execute at a very high level. Team Denmark has been on the bottom of the stats chart statistically, and they really need to I think, keep things simple, keep things well in hand here, as you said, early in the game. And they need to execute these basic shots, these guards, these draws, just these nice, simple shots in order to stay close with Sweden.
Well, the 2 Dupont sisters, they certainly know the game inside out. I think the most important thing is that they have to concentrate very hard on making their own shots here and make as many as they possibly can, because that's where they're going to keep some hang on to Sweden in the early ends.
Yeah, and I think it's,
you know, they're the experienced ones. They have to bring that experience to their much less experienced lead and second player, who are fairly new to all of this.
Yeah, very young, and that rock there, that over curls just a hair. And Christine Svensson here, you're getting a good look at her. She's the junior skip at the World Championships this year for Team Denmark.
Well, she had a tough time earlier this month in Flims down in Switzerland, where the World Junior Championships were taking place.
So this is a great example of Team Sweden understanding angles, understanding which rocks are their friends. They're playing a run back angle double to remove the center guard and hopefully both Danish stones. Well thrown shot. Team Sweden is one of the few teams out here that understands you don't need to be shot at the end of every shot. They want to be shot at the end of the last shot. And with a double staggered corner guard set up there, I know Madeline Dupont recognizes that that's a little bit of trouble. And Sweden's going to try and put one underneath there right now, have their third, Christina Bertrup.
Well, Denmark, of course, they are desperate to try and capitalize in the early ends and get a lead if they possibly can.
just right up to nose there. I'm not sure that Christina Bertrup's rocks, and oh, there we get a look at the coach, Millard Evans, 2012 inductee to the Canadian Hall of Fame, the Curling Hall of Fame. And a look at the bench from Sweden.
Yep, Fredrik Hallström, he's been a long-time coach for this team. And he certainly knows how they play. Had the work with these Swedish women at the Olympic Games last month in Sochi, where they gained their silver medal.
Team Sweden really working these brushes. Sweepers working really hard to hold the line on this. And that's a fantastic shot, Richard.
It certainly is. That's what makes them the champions from previous World Championships.
Yeah, and they've been patiently waiting to have this shot happen all end. Just a very simple setup, very patient. Third, second rock gets under that corner guard. Now the pressure's really on Team Denmark.
Well, they really had to make that shot with their last stone to roll behind the cover in front of the house. But leaving it available, Sweden only needed one go at it, and in behind the guards they went. And of course the guards are particularly advantageous for them because they are crossed. They can't be raised.
Yeah, and we're going to get our first look at the ice speed this morning, Richard. You'll see that clock. We're timing the speed of the rock as it travels down the ice between the two hog lines. 15-4. Quick ice. This looks like a well-thrown shot.
Well, great shot there from...
Clutch shot from Madeleine Dupont.
Yep. Perfect spot to be, really. A little more curl would be even better. I think Sweden can still see it. Maria Pritz can probably just pick that out of there.
Yeah, the one challenge here, Richard, is that this ice just doesn't want to curl to this corner. So for those of you at home, the left side, making a rock go into the left side of your screen has been a little bit difficult. It's been a little bit straighter. So Maria will have to throw a very just through the rings kind of control weight, maybe even just enough to tap it back. Then again, she could just be freezing on this at this point. Try to improve the angle, improve their chance at it.
Well, Sweden do lie second shot behind these guards, but there's no way, if it comes to it, that the guards can be raised. They are well and truly protecting the two, or the Swedish stone in particular, behind them. So this has to be just the right weight. And if she throws it just a little too heavy and takes a little extra ice, it won't curl enough.
And
could be on the tight side here, just trying to be.
They're working very hard to get by, and they are not, but they are going to open up and roll onto the rings. That's an excellent outcome for a missed shot.
Well, big stakes now, because it's going to be 2 or 3 to Sweden, or the steal of 1 for Denmark with 2 stones to go. This next shot is pretty critical. Unless Dupont can take this out and roll across to lie 1 and 2, not leaving the double.
Yeah, I don't know how far she wants to roll.
Well, she has to roll a little bit or she won't lie second shot. That's the key thing here.
I think she'd like to stay to the right side of center line. I think she can get second shot, make the double as difficult as possible.
So big shot here for Denmark in the second end.
Madeline does like shots with up weight, lots of momentum, and lots of roll to her stones. This is jumping on her.
What she's got to do is lie 1 and 2 at the end of it.
That's a well-placed stone. I don't think there's any way that Team Sweden can double those out and keep their shooter. So knowing the draw skill of Maria Pritz. We got to look at this roll. Look at this, people. Beautiful roll right on top of her own stone.
Well, if she'd left that at just about any other angle,
she'd be in some trouble.
She'd be losing 2, I think.
So with this, Maria Pritz needs to get part of the forefoot to score her single point.
And this is certainly a shot selection that Maria Pritz has lots of experience of.
She's one of the best pure shooters I've ever seen.
And you've played against these Swedish women
many times.
Yeah, many times.
And right on the button.
Perfect shot.
So at the end of 2 ends, Team Denmark has succeeded in forcing Sweden to 1 and taking charge of the most valuable hammer or last shot in an end of curling. So we take a brief look at the whole venue. It's school day here, and you can hear the kids cheering in the background. They've all picked countries and they're cheering loud and having a great time here at Harbor Station in St. John, New Brunswick. Quick update from Sheet A. Scotland takes a single point to go up 1-0 over Russia, playing the third end.
So just the last 2 stones here. Madeleine Dupont needing to make the hit and the perfect roll to prevent a double takeout from Sweden. She's a little bit inside the line she wanted. She wanted them to lie spread across the house, but she gets the perfect roll to leave Denmark lying 2 and force Maria Pritz to the draw to the button for her single point. And that's a shot that Maria Pritz is going to make at least 9 times out of 10.
At least. I'd say 9.5 times out of 10. And
she certainly makes it, doesn't she?
With perfection.
Yep, right to the button.
Right over that Ford logo. That means Margareta Sigfridsson will throw the first rocks in the third end. And that stone slides just a little deep.
Well, Sweden are a team that you perhaps look at and think maybe they're not, you know, they're not the most stylish team, but Margareta Sigfridsson knows how to skip this team to get absolutely the best advantage out of them.
They know how to make shots as well as any team playing this game anywhere in the world. They know how each other throws. They communicate so well. But this is a great start for Team Denmark.
So Russia are playing against Scotland on the end ice, sheet A. In this morning draw, Scotland get the first.
Our southpaw skip, Carrie Barr from Scotland, has to draw a little bit better than full 8 to take a point here in the second end. Sweepers working this stone very hard, Richard.
Well, Carrie Barr struggled a little bit in the first 3 or 4 games. She has to make this draw for her point. And she does. So
great sweeping.
They get the early lead. And you can see Russia 3 wins, Scotland 2 wins.
It's a big game as far as the standings go. So back here on our feature sheet, Lena Knudsen's second stone of the end. So this hit and stick forces Team Denmark to make a choice. Do they start hitting or do they find a way to use that corner guard on the other side of the ice?
Well, already in this end, quite an early stage, but I think we can see that Sweden are just going to try and swap hits or hit and roll across. Perhaps a long way to roll here to try to get more than 2, but at the moment they're already set up for their 2 here.
Well, I think that Margareta will try and keep play away from that corner guard as long as she can, since they don't have the hammer. She wants to force Denmark into a score of 1 at the most and take that hammer back.
They're just hoping that when it comes to the last stone, Madeleine Dupont will hit and roll out, give Sweden 1. So they'll be looking to pull the play towards the middle.
Got a key matchup here happening. Canada, the home nation, versus Latvia. Latvia's last shot of the second end. Looks like they're sitting.
Well, important shot here. Chance to score 2 for
Evita Regza. Skip for Team Latvia. Sweepers guiding this rock in. They need to get it to the 8-foot. A little better than full 8.
Well, that's a great shot.
Wonderful draw. Wonderful draw. Ties up that game. It is now 2-2 on sheet D after 2 ends.
Well, that will give them some confidence against Rachel Homan, who is certainly expected to win that game.
Rachel Homan and Team Canada coming off a convincing win over Team USA last night, 9-3. Will definitely be looking to add to their their winning ways here this morning against Latvia. So Denise Dupont will try and hit and roll underneath that corner guard.
Well, this one looks
over curling quite a bit.
Certainly is. So a chance then perhaps for Sweden to dictate the play in this later stage of the end.
Yeah, Margaretta's got two ways to handle this this situation. She can peel this corner guard, or she can draw to the wide open side on the wings, keeping, again, play away from it. But she recognizes that that is the stone that can potentially cause Sweden trouble in this end. Nice simple peel executed by Christina Bertrup. And all of a sudden, we're going to have very few rocks in play. And again, Denise Dupont stone curling quite a bit. Looks okay here, Richard.
Well, it's going to hit and stick. But I'm quite sure Sweden will be quite happy just to take this end all the way to a conclusion and try and make sure that Denmark only get one, or, as Denmark will be trying to do, blank the end when they have the last stone advantage.
Yes. Maria Pritz, a great view of her very smooth slide as she tries to take out the Danish stone in the rings.
Well, just getting the roll to take the line to a slightly different spot for the second Dupont sister. Three stones to go here in the third end. Sweden lying, Sweden winning 1-0. Last stone advantage for Denmark. So Madeleine Dupont executing her shot perfectly to hit and lie.
Yeah, and she hangs on in the back corner over there, forcing Team Sweden to deal with her stone on the edge of the rings.
Well, it was a good shot from Dupont just to roll right out to the wing and provide a tough line for, or perhaps a tougher line for Maria Pritz.
Yeah, and it also allows Madeleine a shorter rollout when she tries to blank this end. So her running or shooter, her running stone or the shooter, doesn't have to roll far in order to retain the hammer for the fourth end.
So last stone here in the third end. And the hit and roll out is the shot selected. Well, the wide
this
side,
one's curling.
Yeah, the wide side roll out would have been the preferred shot, but she hits it on the nose. Well, in a way, they played all end to blank the end, or certainly the second half of the end. It's not what they got.
But that's not the worst case scenario to tie things up with Team Sweden. This is a really good start for Team Denmark this morning. They're executing those basic shots And that should provide them some confidence moving here into the middle section of the game.
I think that's right, but I also think that it's an indication of what's to come here. If that had been the other way around and the Swedish team had the chance to play that shot, I don't think they'd have made that error.
No, they would have rolled out, quite likely.
So at the end of the third end, 1-1 it is. Denmark against Sweden, and Sweden go into end 4 with the advantage of the last stone once more. Chance to score more than one. So we join the play once more. Denmark and Sweden all tied up at 1-1 going into the fourth end.
Yeah, I can imagine we'll see Sweden force the issue quite a bit with rocks in play this end.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right with that.
They've got the hammer. It is their area of expertise, how to generate scores of multiple points. Barring a fantastic shot by Madeleine Dupont in the second end, Sweden quite likely would have scored 2. And this is a well-executed shot by Lena Knudsen. Put a rock soundly in the top 4.
And Madeleine Dupont, she is 26 now. Her elder sister, 29, at the top end of this team. They haven't been at this level really for 3 or 4 years. The Danish scene has been dominated by Lene Nielsen and her team in this last 4-year period, really, since the last Olympics in Vancouver.
Yes, and I think this is a great opportunity for the Duponts to get back into the competitive scene for Denmark. Lene Nielsen and her team are quite talented. They had a really good showing at the last couple of World Championships and at the Olympics, and I'm sure they're disappointed to not be here. So with that, Team Denmark needs to play tough here through the last half of this round robin.
Well, Lena Knudsen, 71% in all play to this stage in the championships. And she's new to this level of curling.
Yeah, she's very new, and that's really quite at the bottom of the standings actually for Leeds. That's well below what we would expect out of Leeds at this level. But that being, this her first time here, you've got to get used to the environment. You have to get used to how the ice moves and works. And speaking of how the ice moves and works, we're going to get to see hog-to-hog time here in the bottom corner of your screen. So we saw 15-4 the last time we saw a draw come down this way. It's a little bit more weight. And that side just curls so hard. But that's something that Sweden has a great ability to do, is get a decent plan B out of a miss. Yeah, they really do.
They're #1 team for that, anyway.
They know how to call the shots, play the angles to their strengths.
Well, Margareta Sigfridsson, she didn't make the shot there, but she did open up the line to the Danish counter, and she did roll her own shooter in partially behind the cover of the first Swedish stone of the end. Christine Svensson, 69%. That's on the low side as well, Anne.
It is on the low side for seconds here at this event. But she's having a much better game today. I think there's a great shot. Just a nice, simple control weight takeout.
Well, she gets a pretty nice roll with that. And Sigfridsson looking at whether the two can be removed in one go. I think it might just be behind the guard by enough to stop the raise. What do you think?
I think Margareta is mostly worried with rolling underneath her corner guard, getting her second point in the rings. A double would be nice, but
well, that's right. I think you're quite right. Number one tactic was to get the stone rolling away from the play towards the wing.
Yeah, and
setting up the possible two.
Yep, now this is a really big shot. Madeline DuPont and Team Denmark are choosing to ignore that second counter for Team Sweden. They are looking to steal. They like the setup of the stones in front of the rings and their stone in the top 4 foot. Christine Svensson needs to throw a really nice guard here.
Well, I think they've seen the opportunity for the steal of a point, but it's still quite a long way to go in the end to execute the steal.
Yeah, and this line curls really hard. And that's a great shot.
It's a very good shot because yet again it prevents the raise onto the counter in the 4 foot circle, which is important. But just as you said with the last stone, Anne, the chance here to hit and roll to the wing and lie 1 or 2 counters, well, 2 counters it will be for Sweden.
Yeah, Maria Wennerström will throw a nice control weight to a barrier weight, as my friends from Scotland like to call it, in order to roll this rock, another rock, onto the rings after taking out the Danish stone, biting the top 12 foot.
Well, another great shot from
now this is a tough choice for Madeline DuPont. She is going to take a look at hitting these stones over here on the corner.
Well, she can sense the danger because the chance is that she could lose 3 here if she's not very careful. She doesn't protect that stone to the end. We, meantime, are just nipping across to Russia-Scotland game once more.
Skip Anna Sidorova throws her last rock of the 3rd end. She's looking for a little bit better than halfway into the 12 foot. So just to touch paint, essentially, for a score of 2. Russia looking to be the first team on sheet A to win with the red rocks.
Yeah, I note the point, Dan, but I think when you've looked at the play, you'll see that probably the teams you would expect to win had one on sheet A.
Yeah.
However, getting back here, that was a critical miss by Denmark.
Yeah, that was quite disastrous. Of all the things that could happen, ticking Sweden on was the bottom of the list of what you'd like to see happen for Team Denmark.
Well, just underestimating how much curl there was, even on a middleweight barrier weight shot.
Yep.
Now, big chance for Sweden to lie 4 here, and they do have the advantage of the last stone, so Denmark are in a lot of trouble now.
Yeah, great sweeping there from Maria Pritz and Maria Wennerström to hold the line on that takeout for Christina Bertrup. They swept almost before she let it go. So that was curling pretty much right away. Another true strength of this team.
Well, in a way, this rather unfortunate situation for Denmark has crept up on them all too quickly. 64% for Denise Dupont, and that's not really good enough.
Yeah, she does have a chance to make a triple takeout here with the way these stones are lined up, but that's curling. And that's a pretty great result. To sit underneath the guard there, second shot.
Well, fortunate result as well, lying 4 against, and the most important thing there was perhaps to make sure that your stone was lying protected at the end of the play. She only actually removed 1 Swedish counter of the 4 of them, but where her shooter is finished is the most important element of that shot, I think.
Yeah, and Team Sweden going through their options. Do they play the run takeout, or do they play the straight peel through one of the holes?
Well, you can hear Maria Sigfridsson considering that. It's interesting here, and Maria Sigfridsson's looking at this with the 3rd player. And Maria Pritz, who plays the last stones in this team, is taking no part of this decision whatsoever. She's standing at the other end.
You know, I think this is a great example of this team understanding who needs to be most comfortable with this shot selection. And Christina Bertrup is the one who has to throw it, and she needs to feel really confident and make sure she believes that the shot she has to throw is the right shot. If there's any doubt in a player's mind, it is going to come through in the execution, and it's going to make a hard shot impossible. So, after some discussion, I think they are playing the run back.
Well, I think that really was the only option. I think the conversation was really about exactly how to play this without catching the front Danish stone onto one of their own stones, one of their own Swedish stones here. And they'll not be that unhappy about the hit. Oh. Yeah, they'll not be too unhappy even with the hit and roll across. The problem with that wasn't actually a very good shot, though.
I know.
Because at the end of the day, it provides the little bit of cover for Denmark to hide behind with their attempt to steal a point here. So a little bit of an advantage to Dupont. Two sisters eyeing this up and seeing whether they can execute a steal of a point. They pretty much have to, because if they don't, they're going to be losing several stones in this end.
So they've decided, I think, that they're going to play this little tap here, Richard. And they had looked at maybe playing a hit and roll off the wings. The danger with that hit and roll is if your shooter should roll all the way out, or you're not real precise, you have a chance to set up a fairly easy double. For that multiple score for Sweden.
Well, we can see here that they have the stones lying not too badly for them. There's certainly the chance to get the steal of a point, because they're close enough to the 4-foot circle to make that happen. But the danger, Anne, is setting up the double takeout opportunity for Sweden, because this shot from Madeleine Dupont.
Yep, she really needs to get to the nose of this tap or just to the inside.
And the problem is leaving.
Looks like they've changed. They've gone to a plan B.
Well,
I think they maybe should have held on for plan A there and played the tap. I think they left the called shot too quickly.
I think they ended up in two minds there because I think they maybe thought the stone was a little bit too heavy.
Yeah.
So they were sweeping it for the line rather than for the weight. But they needed to narrow the scoring area right down to the center line, really.
Yeah, that was... So now Sweden has an excellent opportunity to score their 2 points. They would have loved to have been able to put some of those counters into play, but and there's still a chance here.
It is. Maria Pritz then, 80% to this point throughout the 2014 Women's World Championship.
One of the top performing skips here at the event.
3 stones remaining, as we can see this one and 2 more, and Sweden will now lie first and second shot. And at the commencement of this end, that was their aim, to try to score 2. They're lying 2 at the moment. It was fortunate that the last stone of Dupont didn't roll a little bit further. At least they're only facing 2 and not 3 or 4. These other 2 Swedish stones lying dangerously.
Yes.
For the Danes. And again, she's looking at trying to make sure that she's not leaving a double takeout and hoping to roll behind the 1 guard stone of Sweden's. Make it tough for Pritz to score her 2.
Yeah, she's really looking to up the difficulty as much as possible on Maria's last shot. Creating a situation that Maria has to navigate other stones, maybe use her own as a run back. But that said, this shooter sliding out right here, that stone needs to stay in play, Richard. It needs to stay in play.
Well, that's just the difference though, Anne, isn't it? Because Denmark are making the hits, but they're not getting the rolls and the placement of the stones where they need to put them. Same at the last end, where they took the single point when they wanted to retain the last stone advantage. And really, I'm pretty sure that just comes down to lack of play.
Yeah, on this kind of surface, in this kind of atmosphere. I mean, the ice conditions here at the World Championships are extraordinarily high, require high level of precision and play and knowledge. And so Sweden has an excellent opportunity at a double here. Unfortunately, where that Danish stone landed, it gave Maria this chance.
Well,
and this one's floating back on her a little bit.
She's certainly got the right side of it.
And nice shot for 3. That was a danger from the first couple of hit and rolls by the second, Maria Wennerström. That's what Team Sweden had set up from the beginning on that end, and Denmark played right into their hands.
Well, it was the miss, really, from Christine Svensson when she caught the guards and left Sweden lying with three shots. That was where it all went wrong. You just can't make any mistakes against this team, can you?
No, they will take advantage of every little opening that you give them. They are so good at angles, so good at seeing how the rocks are going to move and how to get the most out of every situation, that any kind of lapse in execution or strategic judgment, you're in a lot of trouble playing them. And this team is a very motivated team. They want the World Championship gold medal. They want it as badly as any team I've ever seen. And I think they've got an excellent chance at it this year.
So it's certainly advantage Sweden, and we can see one more take on this last stone. In the fourth end, Maria Pritz going for the double takeout. Not the easiest double, but it's certainly there. She makes it, just edges the second one out of the rings. Her shooter is lost, but they get what they want, which is a 3-point end for a 4-1 lead. So Sweden well and truly in the driving seat now.
Yeah, so the real difference maker there, Denise Dupont at third stones, really needs to up her execution level. Give Skip Madeline Dupont some easier looks, I think, against this team. But with that, now you're down by 3. You're going to need to try and generate some offense.
And Sweden quite happy to get the play into the house and keep it there with a 3-shot advantage. Once more, we're back to Russia against Scotland. Russia leading 2-1 with a fairly straightforward draw for the 2 in the last end. Now we're in the fourth end, and Kerry Barr from Scotland having to make a draw shot for the single point. Russia have forced the play here. Barr has to make an accurate draw to the button for her 1. Well, she does. That'll give her some confidence in this game.
Great shot by the young skip from Scotland.
And this is her first outing at this level.
Yep, and she's got a big slider to fill. Stepping in for reigning world champion and Olympic bronze medalist Eve Muirhead.
So Sweden are just playing immaculate curling. Margareta Sigfridsson not bothered at all, I don't think, by putting that shot in the rings.
No, I think she wants the play in the rings. When you're up in the score, you want the play in the rings. And you know, this is a choice that I'm not a big fan of, Richard. You threw the corner guard, and I think having your lead draw around, maybe even put a second corner guard up, the way those rocks are staggered. You know, I'd like to see them draw. Hitting your way into offense, into scoring is not necessarily the easiest way to score. I think drawing your way, using touch and delicate shots, is a much better, more secure way of generating scores of multiple points.
Very good point, Anne. And I think it also shows their lack of confidence in their own shot-making ability, because, you know, the shot you have suggested, the selection of that shot is absolutely the right shot, but it takes a little bit of bravery on their part to have a go at it, because they have to make the shot, and they're just not making enough shots. That's just the difference here.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you know, it seems like it might be easier to play a hit and a roll. It seems like it might be easier, but that's 2 shots, Richard. That's a hit and a roll. A draw is a single shot, and you've got a much wider window of opportunity. You get lots of options from throwing a draw. And, you know, Sweden can play the hit and rolls. This team has played together for years and years. They know how to manage this ice. They're so experienced. I hate to see a less experienced team like this Denmark team fall into the same strategic choices as Sweden. It's just going to be an uphill struggle for them.
But the point that I've just been making and you are agreeing with me is they have to make their shots. That stone had to be round behind the guard, and it's not. It's clearly visible for Sweden to deal with relatively easily.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think by putting the corner guard on that straighter side of the ice, that was a mistake right off the bat. If they played the corner guard to the other side of the ice, it's much easier to get around, to bury a rock. This is going to be, you know, a simple hit and roll away from that corner guard for Sweden. The one benefit to all those Swedish rocks in play is that, you know, 2 of them are behind the tee line, and they're
relatively close together, so a Danish counter in front of them is going to be a little bit difficult to remove.
So we'll take a look at the delivery here of young Christine Svensson. I want you to watch her eyes as she slides out. And they drop right about now. So she's actually taking her eyes off the target. For those of you young curlers at home, I recommend you keep your eyes on the target for as long as you possibly can.
Coaching tip of the morning from Anne Swissholm, and a good one. Good tip.
Yep, for all of you curlers out there, keep your eyes on the target.
So Korea are playing the Czech Republic in this morning session, and the Czech Republic having a tough run here, no wins.
And this is the last rock as thrown by Unchi Kim for Team Korea. Using every inch of that space to draw for her second point. All tied up after 4. And back on our feature sheet, we've got Team Denmark has a second opportunity to go underneath that corner guard.
So the second half of this end.
Much better line on this shot as long as they get it around. Just curls a little too much on Denise Dupont again.
It rolls into the front of the house. They lie in a position that allows Sweden just to make the hit.
And
how about these eyes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Christina Bertrup drops him just a hair, but she looks back up again before release. Just a hair.
Well, she's so experienced, I think she's looking at the target and down at the ice at the same time. It was very quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to be watching these eyes on every player from now on, Anne.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see who looks down at their hand and who keeps their eyes on the prize. Denise Dupont playing a takeout here.
Well, just look how much curl there is. Coming in from the wing, the stones are curling quite a lot now.
Yeah, they're getting some nice movement.
And really, one of the reasons that Sweden are winning 4-1 is the accuracy of the takeout play from Denise and Madeleine Dupont. They are not getting the hits and rolls to the places they need them. Like the last time we went down here, Denmark took the point when they needed to hit and run out of the house and retain the last stone advantage. And here Madeline Dupont had to get round that corner guard and caught on it, rolled into the front of the house. And the point you made earlier in this end was that the Swedish counters weren't really lying too much in their favour because they were behind the tee line. Well, now they're in front of the tee line.
Yeah, so I think they're talking about where to hit and roll this stone. Do they roll all the way out of play, which that's difficult? Or do they roll underneath the center guard, which would provide backing and still set up a great chance to score 2 for Denmark? You know, this is actually, this looks like a great situation for Sweden, but with a couple of made shots by Denmark, a deuce is definitely possible. Let's see what Team Sweden decided here.
So Maria Pritz, our first stone in this 5th end, hit and not quite the roll. So would you be happy with that, or?
I think that's actually the best of situations for them. I don't actually love this shot choice here. This is where I think Madeline needs to do everything she can to use those Swedish stones in her favor. I think she should be playing a draw, but she's more comfortable with the ice. And
the problem here really is that she's got to make her shooter stick around in exactly the right place to have any chance to score the 2. So is she looking for the hit and roll behind the guard? I think so.
She is, and she could roll either way. I think she would like to roll into the center. And she's close. Just needed to curl up a hair. So Sweden gets a chance to hit. And if they get to the inside, they'll sit right on the button. They may sit just a hair above the tee line and require Team Denmark to move them quite a bit.
So the best shot here for Pritz would be the hit and just the little roll to her left as she looks at it.
Just to flop inside underneath that center guard, that rock in the top 12. And this one's running on her again. It's quite a bit of weight for this shot.
I don't think she'll be too unhappy with that, though.
No, it still forces Denmark to a single point, and Sweden retains in the worst case scenario, a 2-point lead headed into the 5th end break. Commanding lead for Team Sweden. They love to be a front runner. They defend incredibly well.
So
we get a look at Margareta Sigfridsson skip on the left and Maria Pritz, thrower of the last pair for Team Sweden. A super experienced and very accomplished back end. Danish skip just verifying ice speed information. She needs this rock to be into the 8-foot section of the scoring area. She has not thrown a draw since her, I believe, draw for hammer.
Well, she better make this one count. Looks pretty good, though.
Nice shot for Madeline Dupont to score her 1. Unfortunately for Team Denmark, they are down 2 to Team Sweden heading into the 5th end break.
And crucially, they lose the hammer and give it back to the Swedes. So 4-2 it is after 5 ends of play here. Sweden lead Denmark with the advantage of last stone going into the second half.
Yep, high fives and smiles. So just as a little bit of a look back, pivotal shot in the second end. Maria Pritz drawing against 2 Danish counters. She needs to hit full forefoot to take her 1. And perfectly executed for a score of a single point in the second end. In the third end, Madeline Dupont and Team Denmark have a chance to blank this end and retain the hammer. Unfortunately, her takeout rolls up just a little bit to nose, and Team Denmark is forced to score a single point. In the fourth end, Team Sweden is left with a fantastic opportunity for a score of multiple points with this double takeout by Maria Pritz. Sweden takes a 4-1 lead after 4 ends and forces Denmark to a single point in the fifth end, retaining the hammer headed into the sixth end with a 4-2 lead. We'll take a look in on Latvia, Canada. Latvia has an opportunity here, playing a little bit of a delicate in-off situation to score 3 points on Canada, who is leading by 2 as this rock is thrown by Evita Regza, skip of the Latvian curling team. Patiently waiting for it to curl. And does the Canadian stone go far enough? It would be a measure. And it does not. Canada steals a single point to take a 5-2 lead over Latvia, playing the fifth end. Just looking around the other games, Russia tied 2-2 with Scotland, playing the fifth. Korea 2-2 with the Czech Republic, playing the fifth end. And again, Latvia down 2-5, playing the fifth end against Team Canada. So we've got a great look at school day here at St. John. And the kids are having a fantastic time cheering for their favorite curling teams. There is a lot of energy in this building. The athletes must be feeding off that fun energy coming from these cheering fans. And the entire team from Sweden looking relaxed and confident in their fifth end break.
Yep, Coach Fredrik Hallström, he's not offering any words of wisdom whatsoever because I think they know it all anyway. And the national coach is Pia Lindholm. Just to having a quick look at the statistics there. Hits 84% to 77. And draws for Sweden, 73 against 81 for Denmark.
Yeah, so that's a great little example here. Denmark keeps hitting things, and they're drawing well. They need to put rocks in play. They need to draw. And, you know, this shows us that the percentages, although very close, 79% for Team Denmark to 81% for Team Sweden, sometimes it's not exactly how many shots you make, Richard. It's which ones you make. And
absolutely.
Sweden is making, so far, all of the right ones and forcing Denmark into some difficult situations. And with that, as we get ready to start the sixth end, Team Denmark needs to start stealing. They're going to want this rock here from Lene Knudsen to be short of the scoring area in what's known as the free guard zone. And the free guard zone is an area of play with which rocks cannot be removed from, fully taken out of play for the first 4 stones of play. That's a perfectly placed guard.
So the accuracy of Sigfridsson in this game so far, first 5 ends, 78%.
Yeah, that's down a little bit from where she normally is. She's playing at quite a high percentage for the tournament overall. She's 86% normally. I did hear Margareta discuss this stone that she's throwing right now, that she did not like this stone when she threw it the first end. And this is the stone that came up a little deep the last end for her. And she makes a nice adjustment this end and takes that control position, top 4, under cover.
Well, maybe she'll like that particular stone slightly better after that shot.
Yeah, she may. She's still talking about it, though. She's still talking about that stone. So, Lene Knudsen will need to freeze her rock right down on top of that Swedish stone. After a single miss in the first end, she's having a really nice game here. Oh, they had to sweep for line, and with that bounce, that plays into Sweden's hands.
And that just illustrated the difference between the dead draw weight to the 4 foot, where she got a little bit more curl, Margareta Sigfridsson, and you know, you would have thought the second stone was played just about perfectly, but it just edged off the edge of the Swedish counter and lies in the open, and of course allows Sigfridsson to...
I believe they're going to play the hit and roll out, away from that center line guard. And this one's curling just a ton.
Well, curling a long way from the outside to the in on this sheet of ice.
With that roll, although it was not the way they intended, it still rolls into a great position. As we take a quick peek over to Russia, Scotland, the last stone for Team Russia in the 5th end. Playing a hit. And a delicate hit at that. And a roll for a count of 3 points to take a 5-2 lead playing the 6th end.
So back in our game then. Just to recap, Sweden leading 4-2 here in the 6th end. Denmark having to try to get at least 2 points here. Or a steal of a point, sorry, here. They are 4-2 behind. Sweden have the last stone. It's big danger for Denmark that they could lose another multiple end if they're not careful. Anyway, I did like the attempt to draw to that rather than hitting something.
Yes, I think that was a great choice. So now I think Denmark needs to put a guard back up. Denmark needs as much traffic in front of the rings as possible. Rocks that Sweden needs to deal with, make Sweden shots, raise the level of difficulty on those rocks a little bit. %, 80% for Christine Svensson.
She's the youngster in this team. Played recently at the World Junior Championships in Flims in Switzerland.
And this is a nice shot. You want to show that outside edge. That curled to a great spot.
So Margareta Sigfridsson, no doubt about what shot she wants to play here. Just clear the guards off and roll the shooter away. Keep the play in the house.
Yes, and Margareta knows that the scoreboard, even if they only score one here, that puts them just that much more out in front. She'd like a score of multiple points, but the one thing she won't let happen is she won't let Denmark score here. She will do everything she can, and that means not allowing any guards to sit up front of the house and give Denmark anything to hide behind.
And 75% for Denise Dupont.
It's one of the higher games that Denise has had. Well thrown rock. So now this is a bit of a game of cat and mouse, Richard. Who's gonna jump first here? Excellent sweep again by Maria. Pritz and Van Estrom to hold Christina Bertrup's rock straight and prevent any jam opportunity on that. It just missed the back counter by a hair.
So the local schools are high up on the noise counter. They're having a nice day out, but I wonder if they're understanding too much about the curling. More about the support of Team Canada, I think.
Well, I see some Scottish flags up there with some of these kids.
Oh. What about that shot then?
I think that Team Denmark had something going throwing the guards. They had Sweden being very concerned with this. The play's now in the rings. This is exactly what Sweden wanted. They're going to just play a hit and a flop to the outside here and put 2 additional counting rocks on the edge of the rings. And
well, we know how dangerous that is if you're Danish. Last time they played this kind of end, they scored 3. Coming down here in the 4th end. Here we are coming in this direction towards where we're sitting in the 6th end. You can see what Sweden are up to. Playing a nice controlled weight at this, just waiting for it to curl at the end, which it does, and rolls to the wing, exactly as you predicted.
Yeah, now this gives Team Denmark a couple of options. Do they play the tap now on their own stone to a freeze, or do they throw another guard? She's looking at a hit here. I think if she hits and rolls in, then Sweden will play the double off the. They'll call the double immediately off the rock on the top of the 4-foot.
Well, the problem with the stone on the top of the 4-foot as well is that it's just enough distance between it and the yellow Swedish counter to edge it past that yellow one of Sweden's. They wouldn't even mind if they played a double takeout on these two stones in the middle. The Swedes just hit the top one on the nose and they both go and they suddenly lie 3.
Yeah, I think, though, that this is a fantastic opportunity for Denmark to steal. By playing this hit out here, they're basically conceding a score to Sweden, and I think that's a mistake.
Well, you don't get too many chances against Maria Pritz and Margareta Sigfridsson.
And that's a great double, but
but it allows Maria Pritz now to also go for the double, take the 2 stones out, her own one and the red Danish one.
Yeah.
Or edge it past and lie 2.
Yeah. So we'll see what Sweden does here. They could be going for the blank at this point. But they'll go hard for the roll to sit shot 1 and 2. If it rolls out, they that's okay with them.
The key thing is to remove the Danish counter. That's the important result here. And 88% game accuracy for Maria Pritz. We can see why the score's 4-2 in their favour.
And that just curls up a hair too much.
Well, still not too concerned even with that shot, but it probably is going to mean that they're going to be forced to take a single point here. Denmark, Madeleine Dupont, her last stone here in the 6th end. And the takeout to lie 2 is what she's going to play.
So this should curl nicely here, this spot in the ice.
So Denmark lie 2. 1 stone remaining for Maria Pritz.
She needs to hit and stick here. So that was a nice turn of events for Team Denmark to force them to look at 2 counting stones. I still believe it was a missed opportunity to steal a point. The way the rocks were lined up.
Well, it's a very thin line between being defensive and making sure you're still in the game,
yes,
and taking too much of a risk and ending up losing a big end. And earlier in this end, it looked as if that could happen. So here, 1 point for Sweden it will be with that solid hit from Maria Pritz. And a 5-2 advantage for Sweden in the 6th end. Sweden control the game. Denmark get the advantage of the last stone, or the hammer, as you see in the little icon there. They've got to try and make a 2 out of that, at least.
And a great shot of our teams having their between end meetings, going through what they're going to decide for their next plans.
So Latvia are taking on Canada on the next sheet. And Vita Regia. Her last stone in the fifth end, trailing 5-2. She has to make this shot count. Must stick against the two Canadian counters. She does. And Latvia pick up a point to narrow the score to 3-5. They trail by 2, and more ominously, Canada get the advantage of the last stone once more, going into end 6 in that game. And you can see the arena this Tuesday morning here in St. John, New Brunswick.
A look at Maria Pritz, fourth player for Team Sweden. And Margareta Sigfridsson, skip for Team Sweden, who throws the lead stones. So this stone's going to go a little deep here. Just a little overthrown by Margareta.
That's the one she doesn't like.
It is the one she doesn't like.
Now, what did she not like about it at the beginning? It slowed up on her a little bit?
I think it did, and I think it grabbed some of the pebble in the first end. So the ice is still a little sharp. Rocks tend to curl a little more, slow down a little bit harder in the beginning, and then as the pebble wears down, the surface gets smoother. And but she has a pair of stones, I think, that aren't matched, and I think that that's something that we can talk about a little bit, Richard. These stones are a natural granite. They have a unique density, and each running surface has its own unique properties. And one of the skills of the great players of the game is recognizing the difference between the stones and how to manage them. And, you know, we can be talking about a difference of maybe just 1 or 2 feet in distance, maybe a little bit of extra curl or finish on a stone. It might not be a lot, but those little things make a huge difference when we're talking about a game of inches and centimeters when it comes to scoring. And if Margareta Sigfridsson thinks a stone does something, I am inclined to agree with her. Her experience and her great skill at throwing these lead rocks.
It's interesting just to develop that a little bit more. If the stones are, in her estimation, a little bit different on the speed, you can deal with that. If it's not too much different, you can deal with that with the sweepers pretty much. You can throw them a little bit differently. And where a lot of your stones are draw weight shots at lead or shots to put placement of guards, if you really don't like them that much, you can swap them over with the second player.
Yeah, lots of teams do that.
Times the second will be using the stone to play a takeout with.
Yeah, lots of teams do that. You know, I found one of the interesting parts about playing lead is that I liked having stones that weren't matched. I liked getting a little bit of a unique pairing, because you do throw the same shot over and over again. It upped the level of difficulty in a unique way, and I think lots of leads get some unmatched stones out there, but I think lots of teams put a straighter stone or a faster stone into the hand of the second, knowing that they will be throwing a takeout likely at some point. As we see this run back takeout by Maria Wennerström from Sweden. Just over curls a hair on her, Richard, and leaves the Danish stone in the forefoot and a corner guard, allowing Team Denmark to hopefully hide another stone in the rings.
Christine Svensson then. Just trying to draw behind the corner guard.
The youngest player on this sheet by over half a decade.
And you can see the stone not that keen to draw behind the guard there. Just from the inside to the outside of the sheet is a little bit straighter. Coming in from the edges, it's quite a bit of curl. But you mentioned the last time we were heading in this direction away from where we were sitting that
it curls nicely into that corner back there.
Yeah, you thought there was more curl into the corner. So the hit and roll attempt.
And rolls just a little too far.
That's why Sigfridsson was calling the sweepers off to try and let the stone draw a little bit more and hold it to live first shot, but it just curls too much. Still sticking on the edge of the rings, and the Swedes are so good at making these stones count, these outside biters.
You know, I really like this shot selection by Madeleine Dupont. She is going to try and go to the open side of the rings with a draw here. She recognizes that if she goes underneath at this point, that Sweden will just play the run back and could double them out. Lots of teams are tempted to put a second rock underneath their corner guard and try to get three. But you have to secure your score of 2 points before you can even think about scoring 3. And they would have liked that stone a little bit deeper. Sweden's going to try and hit and roll to the other side of the rings.
Well, that's an interesting view, Anne. I wonder in this situation if she might not have been better trying to come round the guard, because the stone that she does have lying in the back 12-foot circle is not the best one.
Not the best location, I agree. And that might be one of the things that would come into your consideration when you're talking about shot selection. So, and, you know, we'll see. She's going to get a look at this again. And now we're, you know, we're on thirds rocks. So this may be a time where she considers it.
Well, she's looking as if she's going to have a go at the one on the other side. And, you know, Sweden weren't that far away from locking
they are
their
going
counter.
Underneath?
Yeah, locking their counter onto that back red. The trouble here is that to make that back red stone count effectively in any way, I think they've got to kind of play down that line.
Yep.
If they can get half round the corner guard of Sweden, at the moment it just needs to curl, and this is...
If it's got the right weight, it's got nice line. They just want to sit above the tee line.
Well, it's just a fraction too far.
Just a hair. But it's nicely buried. Sweden is going to have to play the run back. Gets by that guard. Ah, with an inch or two to spare. That's a well-thrown rock.
Yeah, nice shot.
That was good awareness by the sweepers to not be sweeping that stone. Even cleaning a rock down the ice can drag it a couple of inches further. So with that rock being behind the tee line, Sweden this one looks very heavy.
I don't know what happened there, but that's pretty uncharacteristic.
Yeah,
play.
that's very uncharacteristic.
That's about the loosest curling stone I've seen this team play all week long. They're sitting with just one loss at this stage. They lost to Russia in the opening game. Sorry, in the second game, 7 shots to 4. Sweden, their only loss.
This rock looks like Denise Dupont just rolled this rock right at release. And it's all over the guard. And this gives Christina, no, it's Maria Pritz's rock for Sweden.
Well, we're down to last to skip stones here in the 7th end. Denmark are lying 2 guarded, but they're both behind that centre line. It definitely allows Maria Pritz to come around and lock onto the Danish counter to leave Sweden lying nicely. She needs to make this shot, but for her, for me it wouldn't be routine, but for her I think it's fairly routine. She knows the weight precisely. She knows how much it will draw at the end on this hand coming down here. And Margareta Sigfridsson is giving her the ice just to allow for that. So we can see the timing. 15.4 for draw weight was what we were seeing earlier on. This has just got a fraction more than draw weight to bump onto the Danish counter. 15.6. Well, another mistake from Sweden. Not by much, but she was a little bit short of weight there, perhaps. If she'd got past, though, it would have been. She probably would have lain first shot.
Yeah, she would have been. That was pretty perfect weight for the freeze. It just didn't have the perfect line. Curled a little bit too much, rubbed that top yellow one. It did spin on for second count. Now, this is a situation, I think Team Denmark has elected to hit that stone, kind of flop under and sit 3.
But you can see with the amount of ice that she's taking, she's not going to play too much weight at this, and I don't think she needs to get the curl, because if she hits the high side of that shot, on the left-hand side as we're looking at it there, she runs the risk of pushing her stone, pushing the Swedish stone onto her own ones.
So there it starts to curl as soon as it lets go of that center line.
Yeah, I think she's got a good-looking line on this.
That's a nice shot.
So suddenly, with these 2 Swedish errors, Denmark now lying 3 in this 7th end. 2 stones to go. Sweden suddenly in lots of trouble. They've been in no trouble in this game the whole way through, I don't think.
No, none. And then with the complete miss by Christina Bertrup and the half shot by Maria Pritz in the last 3 rocks is a very difficult combination, since it was followed by 3 well-made shots for Denmark. Sweden looking at their options. Do they have a run? Anything? Can they play the outside in? And I don't, that out turn around, the counterclockwise rotating shot from Maria Pritz on the outside is difficult.
Well, the key thing here perhaps, Anne, is to reduce. I mean, they're looking at a way of trying to steal the end, even at this stage, I think. And she has to make a really tough shot to do that. Many teams will be looking at how to reduce the damage when they're leading 5 shots to 2. So maybe the
they're going to call a timeout here.
Yeah, maybe the double takeout on the 2 reds is actually what to have a go at.
Yeah, at the top, and just concede in the well, I think they don't like the angles on this. It goes right into this pile potentially, and
that's right.
So they may not like the angles on that. This is a full experiment here. This coming around an out turn.
A full experiment.
And it's an experiment on skip stones without hammer. It's a dangerous choice to make in our sport.
How nicely put. An elegant summary of the problem from the bench, knowing fine well that you and Swisshelm don't have to play it.
I do not have to play it. I don't have to sweep it. I don't have to call it. Oh, I do have to call it, but it's a different kind of call from up here. So, Coach Fredrik Hellström out to go through some of the options.
The problem as well is if they hit that front one on the nose, they're still not counting the second shot even. They're only counting the third shot. And it would be a draw for 3 by Madeleine Dupont to tie the game.
A draw for 3 doesn't look really bad right now. Quite frankly, if I'm Team Sweden playing the scoreboard, tied with playing the 8th end is not a bad situation. Down 1, that might be a little bit of a tougher go. So Sweden is done. This is one of the longer conversations we've seen by a team this week. They think this is wired to create some damage here. And by wired, they think they need to play. This is the best way for them to get at the shot rock, the #1 counting rock, which you'll see in the white ring on the right side of your television screen.
So just to summarize what they're going to try and do, if they hit that red stone next to the yellow above the car, just in the right spot, they think the yellow will jam nicely onto the counter at the back, where the brush is now being held by Maria Sigfridsson. And it will probably roll off that and in behind the front red stone of Denmark's a little bit, which is what they want.
Yep, that's
transferring all the pressure back to Denmark. My goodness, it's a big shot here.
Yes, it is.
That's why they took a long time to look at it, see if the angles are going to work. So what do you think? Just the hit on the nose would do the job here?
I think so.
It curls here too from the outside of the sheet in, and she's struggling to hit it on the nose. Well, what a shot.
That is one of the best shots you will see in the circumstances. Not only did she become shot rock she became shot rock underneath 2 guards.
And we see it again.
Bounce.
She had to get the angle on that connection so that it would come to the back and roll in behind the cover. Here we see it once more from another angle, and the roll in behind the key point in all of that, so that it makes it tougher still because she's lying guarded. Just look at that shot.
Really one of the best shots I've ever seen, given the circumstances. That's a spot in the ice they haven't played. That was a huge pressure shot.
Well, you know, we thought sitting here that perhaps the hit on the nose would do the job okay. And I think the hit on the nose would have done the job, but I don't think it would have had the perfect finish that they have here.
Yeah.
And these 2 Danish counters at the front are half-checked across each other, which means it's impossible to raise onto that stone. All that Madeleine Dupont can do is come down here and try and just tap the yellow one back a fraction and lie first shot. And she can't see any of it. She can't see
any of it. She may be switching her shot to the double raise.
Well, that's a real tough one. The lines are difficult, and we know that it curls quite a bit here. So the option is to come around there and just tap it, but it sure as heck won't look like that from the hack.
Yeah, no, it's the Swedish stone is overburied by 2 red rocks. She is so this will take perfect weight and perfect line to get that stone out of there. Hack weight, so
well, this stone will curl at the finish. They need to be careful, make sure they're sweeping it to get past the first guard. It's going to pull a long way.
They're close.
That was the danger. It was always going to pull there, and it did.
And you can see the disappointment on the face of skip Madeleine Dupont. She knows what an opportunity that end was.
They had to be sweeping that hard right from the off. Look how much she catches of it. Hardly any. It rolls off to the side, and the shot is lost. The end is lost. Sweden steal one from nothing after 2 poor shots. Maria Prytz then plays that.
Yeah, and Team Sweden really going through what happened there and how to prevent that situation from occurring again.
Well, fantastic recovery from Maria Prytz for their 6-2 advantage over Denmark after 7 ends. So Scotland against Russia. Russia have scored 2 3-point ends to be 8-2 ahead here. And Kerry Barr needs this last takeout to hit and stick to pick up her 2. Well, she does, but Scotland still trailing 8 shots to 4. On sheet A, and Russia's Anna Sidorova team in full control in that game. So we're heading down end number 9. 6-2 Sweden lead. They were in danger of having the game all tied up at 5-5, but no, as if we should ever have doubted the man.
No, that was just an incredible show of patience and steadfastness. Recognizing the difficulty of the moment, how to go through the shot selections, calling their coach out, and then Maria Prytz just calmly executing maybe the shot of the week so far.
Well, they had to get it absolutely right. And they did, to the inch.
Yeah, and we will happily show you that shot again.
They took a long time here because they were looking at where to hit that front stone to get the connection on the back one and the roll in behind the cover to leave the two stones half-checked guarding. And look at that, just that perfect roll behind.
Perfect roll behind to bite half onto the forefoot, buried underneath two stones.
If she had left any of that stone open any more than that, Dupont comes round, taps it back, and still picks up a big end.
And has a score of 4.
Yep.
That is a humongous point swing in this game. That is just tremendous.
So there we are.
And we're looking at this
against Sigfridsson.
Yeah. What's really nice to see for Team Denmark here, I know that was a disappointing outcome, that last end, but they have played a much stronger game than they have played so far here in St. John, and it's very encouraging to see. Especially these younger, new players or new to this event, Lena Knudsen here and Christine Svensson playing very well. I know the scoreboard isn't telling the whole story here for Denmark, but these girls should be taking some confidence that their game is building, that their game is improving. And barring a near miraculous shot by Maria Pritz, they would have the lead.
For me, though, having seen 7 ends in this particular match, the difference is the accuracy of the hitting at the back end of the teams. The third and skip for Denmark, just not quite so sure-footed on getting the hits and rolls to the right places, hitting on the nose when you want to hit and run, and just hitting the wrong side a little bit at times. So there's the difference in percentages from Svensson and Wennerstrom, and the draw percentage 25 is low, but she's hardly, second player hardly plays any draws, so really that's probably 1 or at most 2 shots not quite executed properly. It's a false reflection of the overall quality of her game. So Christine Svensson, 20-year-old student from Copenhagen. She lists one of her hobbies as power yoga. Is that one of your hobbies too, Anne?
Power yoga, yes. Why not? It sounds like fun. I have no idea what power yoga is, I must admit.
Well, we'll find out what it is before we get back in here behind the microphones.
We'll make sure that we know what that is. So,
and I think we'll see an example of it in action too. We want to see what it actually does.
Yes. So Maria Wennerstrom here with a peel weight takeout. She wouldn't mind losing some of her own rocks there that have slipped behind the tee line. And when we talk about that, at this point, Team Denmark being down 4 points playing this 8th end of the game, they need rocks in play, and they don't mind that they are Sweden's rocks at this point. It's still early in the end. They're going to use those Swedish rocks to hold those Danish stones in the rings.
Well, they have the last stone advantage, and they need to use it, but I'm not sure I like them coming into the house and trying to freeze. The freeze is one of the toughest shots in the game because you have to be absolutely perfect for weight and for line. And that's a pretty good attempt, but I don't know, maybe you put up another guard or maybe you come round the short stone. I'm not keen on the game being played in the house at the tee line or behind it.
Yeah, and I think Denmark is they they need to take every opportunity to put rocks in play. 2 corner guards would have been great. You know, as it was, I think they chose again the corner guard on the straighter side of the ice. I would be playing it the other side. I would go to places that it's a little easier to generate offense and harder to execute defense. But with that, Christina Bertram trying to remove this, and they get the jam, and now maybe they can go underneath that corner guard.
Well, it was a well-played shot from Christine Svensson, but Sweden won't be that disappointed to clear things out. They are 4 shots ahead. The fewer stones in play of any colour are to their advantage.
Yeah, and that's what bringing the play into the rings dictates. It dictates that Sweden will just be able to throw significant weight and just bang stones out of play. So Denise Dupont here, 3rd for Team Denmark.
And you were just making the point about the amount of curl into the corner. Well, she's got that one more or less hidden. Quite nicely played. Good weight in the front part of the house.
Yep, that was a nice shot.
So Margareta Sigfridsson keeping things nice and simple for Sweden, trying to execute the hit and hope for the roll in behind these 2 Danish stones. Or
I think
maybe
she
the other
looked.
way.
I think she looked at going away, and she knew she'd be behind the tee line, and I think she was trying to prevent this from happening, making this freeze in the forefoot. You know, a freeze is a difficult shot in curling. I think really how teams approach this shot. If you think of shots as being super difficult, they are.
Yep.
This is just a draw, Richard.
It's
just a draw, and it's swept to the freeze. If you think about it as something being very, very difficult, it will be. And if you think about it as being a basic shot that you execute on a regular basis, you know, I think teams will make them a little more often.
Well, that one just over curling on them. Had a nice weight, but
yeah, it had pretty great weight. Denise's second rock here in this game has over curled several times on her. Some it looked like she might have underthrown them and she wrecked on guards. So that one, I think, just she didn't get enough ice. I think that was really great weight for that shot.
she doesn't put quite so much handle on the stone either, so it floats a little bit more when you don't do that, especially on arena ice like this where the pebble is quite grippy. You've got to make sure your stone is going to grip the pebble, and if you don't put enough handle on, we can watch to see how many turns of handle she plays, but I just get the sense that she needs to, yeah, and actually right now as we're looking from here, they're busy looking at how much handle they're putting on, the two Dupont sisters. They're discussing it.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure out why Denise's second rock isn't doing what they anticipate. And so they're talking about rotation and spin and places on the ice and shots she has thrown with it.
But I think it's a key point that you have got to put enough handle, 2.5 to 3 turns coming down the ice, not 1 to 1.5 turns, because the stones will float on you, and I think that's what's happening with Denise's draw shots a little bit.
Yeah, so when we talk about rotation on the rock, you'll see when Maria Pritz lets go of this rock, it's got spin, and it's halfway down the sheet, and it's at 1 rotation. And now you're getting almost to 2, and you'll be at just shy of 2.5 on that hit.
Which is just perfect, of course. So she gets a true curl on the stone and hits and rolls across the face of her own stone to lie 2 on the 4-foot circle. They are open for Madeleine Dupont. There's 3 stones remaining in this end. Denmark trail 6-2. They had such a huge opportunity in the last end to tighten the score right up, but Maria Pritz put a stop to that.
And we have an extraordinary occurrence here in St. John. The Red Rocks, as thrown by Team Russia, have won their first game with a final score of 10-4 over Team Scotland.
So there you go, nothing wrong with the Red Rocks, played perfectly. I think you have to look at who plays who in some of these games, and quite frankly, on sheet A, with one exception, the teams you would expect to have won did win. They just happened to have played the Yellow Rocks all the way through. And if you go by the way the play is, perhaps in the next 3 games, the Red Rocks will win all 3 of them. Let's see.
Yeah, that would be good information. We'll track that one. And here's our standings right now.
5-0, Switzerland, Canada and Sweden 4-1, Russia 4-2. And at the other end of the table, the Czech Republic winless. Denmark, Germany and Latvia all on only 1 win.
Here on our feature sheet, last stone for Sweden in the 8th end. Looking for a hit and stick to sit 2 and force Team Denmark to a single point.
So Maria Pritz makes that shot effortlessly. And Denmark, well, they had a chance here to score the 2.
Yeah, I think that
just slipped away from them.
I think throwing the hit on the skip's first rock there was a mistake. If they had played a freeze with those rocks sitting on the back forefoot, they had a chance to actually score 3. And I know that sounds silly. You leave yellow rocks in play. How do you score 3? But now they've got to play a hit for 1. And
this one needs to curl a bit.
Looks like it's going to be a steal of 1 for Team Sweden.
Yeah. That's just the difference between these 2 skips. Unfortunately, Madeleine Dupont, she has not executed the hits to make her point.
And with that rollout, we have handshakes. And that's a final on our feature game today. Team Sweden 7, Team Denmark 2. So as we get a line score from sheet D, Canada versus Latvia. Canada up 7-3. They are playing the 8th end. Team Latvia has last rock advantage. And we catch Team Canada line 2 in the house. Team Canada playing the yellow rocks here. Emma Miskew, 3rd for Team Canada. And there you've got the front end. Alison Kraviatzik and Lisa Weigel.
Ja, ir stiprāks, tad ir variants.
And we get a look at Datsa Regza. For Team Latvia, she's playing a draw into the rings, trying to hide a rock behind a Canada stone out on the corner. And just going to play a little freeze tap over there. And the skip from Team Canada, Rachel Homan, does not hesitate. She is going to remove that red rock from play.
M's last was board, eh?
Yeah. How much are you throwing?
She was tight, turned it, and we still hit high side.
How much?
High.
It's quick here? Yeah, normal here.
Yeah, normal? It's bad.
So great discussion by Rachel Homan and her second, Alison Kraviatzik, on speed of the ice. How someone, another player on the team, had just thrown a shot in this spot. Just verifying everyone's on the same page. So being down by 4 points, Team Latvia needs to try and generate some offense here. They have 2 rocks left to Canada's 1. So their choice is going to be to play a freeze on the stone that Team Canada just threw. Actually, she's going to play a hit and roll. She's going to hit the stone on the button and try and roll into the yellow stones on the right side of your screen. This needs to curl a bit. And unfortunately, she just gets a roll in the opposite direction.
She fell.
Yeah, I cleaned it pretty well there, but
I'm gonna throw peel. One last, so I can get it through that.
Yeah, I'll get my groom down right away.
Sorry?
I'll put my groom down right away too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ice awareness by Team Canada, a player must have slipped, and Rachel Homan's awareness that her stone would be traveling over the spot in the ice where another player had slipped, making sure that there was nothing on the ice. And now Team Latvia faces 3 Canada counters with that made shot.
See you guys. Nola? Yeah. Is it?
No, it's viens. Labāk viens, laikam.
Skip from Team Latvia, executing a counterclockwise rotating takeout here. An out turn for the right-handed players. And the sweeper's guiding this rock in. And we get a nose hit and a score of 1 for Team Latvia. So now we've got a 7-4 game here on sheet D. So as we take a peek in on the game happening on Sheet B, Czech Republic versus Korea. Korea's got a 2-point lead. The Czech Republic sits shot 1 as they throw the last stone of the 8th end. Skip Anna Kubaskova needs this rock to stop in the 8-foot in order to tie this game up. Sweeper sweeping for line to hold the line just a little bit. And this rock is still skating. Korea is trying very hard to get it out of scoring position, and it comes to a stop just in time for the Czech Republic to take 2 points and tie this game up, playing the 9th end. With our feature game over, Sweden defeating Team Denmark, we've switched to Sheet B to check in on Canada versus Latvia. Latvia's got a bit of an uphill battle here, Richard. They are down by 3 points without the hammer, playing the 9th end. The most critical rocks right now are these lead stones. They need to be in the free guard zone area. They need to be well placed.
So, first up in N9, Zaklina Letonice. A Latvian lead. And last year this championship was played in Latvia, in the capital city, Riga.
Yes, they hosted a fantastic event and were wonderful hosts, and in particular wonderful hosts for a country that doesn't have a lot of curling. They really embraced the World Championships and provided a great atmosphere for all the teams and all of the officials at the event.
So Lisa Vigele just pushing that Latvian stone into the house and leaving her shooter on the, or very close to the center line. And of course we've watched Sweden defeat Denmark 7-2. The other big team, really, the two big teams I think here are Sweden and Canada's Rachel Homan, who we have in action against Latvia. Letonice again with her second shot. Just putting up the center guard and coming around behind that stone, but still guarding, or still guard position. So, 2 nice shots from her.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. So Lisa Weigel will be asked to play that tick shot again.
I don't mind this. The double's pretty good. Okay.
Okay, they're going to hit the stone in the rings.
I think that's actually a good choice.
Yeah, they said that they like the angle on the double peel up front. So they'll save that for second Alison Kraviatsik. And Lisa Weigel will be asked to play what I would imagine to be a peel, a hit and roll out. I don't think they need their shooter to stick around, but they're leaving it there.
Well, they're 3 up with the last stone advantage. I think they'll be fairly happy leaving it on the wing. It's not causing any imminent danger.
Not yet.
So 52%, that's not so good for Iluta Lindi. She is listed as the alternate for Latvia, playing at second today. And she just bumps the Canadian stone up, taking away that angle that Rachel Homan was looking at.
This is
3/4.
Iluta's second game here at the World Championships. She also played last night.
Even if you stick it, it makes for a really easy double peel after. It's not going to fall like crazy here.
And Latvia have featured at the Worlds a few times over the last 3 or 4 years. They only started curling in 2001. So Alison for the hat-trick.
Great shot by that second. She removes almost everything from the free guard zone. The one lone rock is pushed way to the outside. Very accurate, effective peeling team, Team Canada.
And the mistake Latvia made there was to have these stones all too close together to allow for that shot
Yeah,
to be played.
Yeah, you have to have maximum separation and command of the angles in order to prevent those double and triple peels.
So the face of Rachel Homan. And she went through the Canadian Women's Championship, which involves 11 other teams.
She was there as Team Canada, as the reigning bronze medalist from the World Championships. And Rachel and company had a commanding performance. And
They didn't lose a game, and what happened? They didn't have to play the last stone on any game, was that right?
Never threw her last rock. And as of yet, she still hasn't thrown her last rock here. Unfortunately, one of those times was because of a loss, but every other time was because of a commanding win here at the World Championships. So barring one hiccup in their schedule, they have soundly defeated their opposition through a tournament and a half. Very high level play.
Well, I was in Riga last year at these World Championships, and there were 3 outstanding teams there. Rachel Homan, Sigfridsson and Eve Muirhead. That's not to take too much away from the other teams, but these 3 women's teams for me were the best 3 women's teams I had ever seen, and the play that they made was just fantastic. This time 2 of them are here.
Yeah, Eve being given the world's off after an outstanding performance at the Olympic Games. So Canada, just simple execution here, keeping the front clear. Latvia is going to need a full and complete miss several times out of Team Canada to have a hope at stealing a couple of points over the next 2 ends.
And as we reflected here, it's not that Latvia didn't place their stones in the right kind of area. The trouble was they just had them all too close together. That was the difficulty. So they're struggling to make much of this end. They need to try to get a steal, but Rachel Homan has very usefully kept the center area completely free of stones.
Yeah, the triple peel by Canada's second, really, that was quite deflating for Team Latvia. There was some traffic out in front of the rings, and it looked like there was potential. And then with 1 stone, everything was gone.
And Emma Miskew just removing that stone from play. So we're down to skip stones here in the 9th. Canada leading 7 shots to 4 over Latvia.
Jā. Tad tādā noliec pa vidu, viņi tikai krāmē ārā. Jā, var arī otrā
And there are hundreds of curling clubs all over Canada. In Latvia, there is one.
It's a one
Two
club,
sheet.
2 sheets. It is a lovely club.
You've been in it?
I have.
Well, Evita's father, Ansis, who's the coach, he was the main driver to create that club.
Yes, this team is definitely a family affair. Mom plays third. So
Otru arī var.
Labi, meita. Ļoti labi nāc.
Nice shot from Evita.
Vispār neiet.
And that little 2-sheet club in Latvia, they have 37
Go really thin.
people who are, or it was 37, I haven't checked this year, people who were kind of not so much shareholders, but they had a kind of stake in the club in Riga. And I think that was a good move by Ansis to arrange it like that so that the interest and enthusiasm in a curling club was maintained and enhanced, and it certainly is. So here we go.
Rachel not losing sight of her goal here. Keep the middle clear. Keep things as simple as possible.
And we're talking about rotation. She put plenty of rotation on that one. Just helps to keep the stone maybe a little bit straighter.
Yeah, I like to look at it as taking the mystery out of the ice. Rachel puts the broom down exactly where she wants to hit that stone, and she throws a very straight, very high weight peel shot. She throws it as clean as any skip out there, and that extra rotation creates a lot of accuracy for her.
And as we saw, 97% in this game, so I'm not really surprised to see Latvia trailing by 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah, and
it's going to be tough to out-curl that.
yeah, and I wonder how Earl Morris, coach of Team Canada, is going to get that extra 3% out of Rachel.
Well, I think we might be checking that out later in the week.
Right, that'd be a good question for Earl at this point. So Latvia is going to try and make a miracle happen here by putting this last stone in the rings. Shot one underneath that corner guard. It's got a ways to travel. Just a little too careful on the ice there. I think Rachel's got a wide open shot at that.
And again, on that line, not so much curl to the wing. That stone ran really quite straight towards the end. Not much finish on it. And on the sheet we were playing next door, or the sheet that was the feature game between Denmark and Sweden, showed the same kind of characteristic. Not quite so much curl to the wing, although down in the same corner on that sheet there was a bit more curl.
Yeah, there was a bit more finish at the end in the house, and I think that would happen again here. It just, they needed a little less ice. They needed to aggressively go after that corner, given the situation. Rachel has so much room, she can play the counterclockwise rotating out turn. And
she is 100% on her 10 hits to this stage. And I don't anticipate any difficulty. Well, no. She hits and runs.
And
picks up a single point, and the Latvian team call it a day. 8 shots to 4 will be the final score in this game between Latvia and Canada. So very strong play from Rachel Holman and her.
And that's
team.
A nice bounce back for Team Canada. That's the sheet that they lost to Switzerland on the other night. So it's nice to go back to that same sheet and kind of master it. Rachel had said that they just really didn't adjust well to the way that sheet moved, the way things curled, and clearly today they have adjusted well. So we get the long shot of the beautiful arena here, Harbor Station in St. John, New Brunswick. There is one game left playing at this point. Team Korea versus the Czech Republic. And we go live to this this very tight game. Korea up 1, Czech Republic needing to score 2 with their hammer here in the 10th end to get their first win of these World Championships. So lead for the Czech Republic, Elzbieta Badiasova. Just hit and rolled off a little bit. She was looking to freeze down, so she was just a little heavy. Sulbi Lee. Sorry, this is Mi Sung Shin for Team Korea.
And Korea leading 6 shots to 5 in this 10th end, last end of regulation play. Czechs have got some stones in play though, a couple of guards out in front, one of theirs, one of the Koreans. Korea lie 2 in the house.
So Anna Kubiskova will have her second. Klara Svatnova. Actually, that is Teresa Pliskova for the Czech Republic. Trying to come through this port here, and it just hangs out a little bit.
Well, it's not necessarily too much of a problem. We're still early in the end and there's plenty of stones in play here.
And this will allow the Korean team to put another rock, Solbye Lee. They'll be looking for one right into the rings, I believe. Top 8 foot. Take full control of the scoring area in the 4 foot.
Frantic sweeping from the Korean lead and second, and they will.
That's excellent work by the brushers. They swept that rock pretty much the entire way down the sheet. That is hard work, and they dragged that rock into an excellent position, forcing the Czech Republic team to execute a double peel.
Yep, Teresa Pliskova now trying to remove the front stones. Well, not too bad. So Anna Kubiskova, skip for Czech Republic, trails 6-5, but they do have the last stone advantage. They'll be trying to score their 2 and to win the first game of the week.
Yeah, with the way the stones are placed right now. So this is Ji-sun Kim. She throws the 3rd stones for Team Korea and is the skip in the house. The way the stones are positioned right now, the Czech Republic's going to be chasing to get their 1. There's traffic in front of the rings. Team Korea has full control of the 4 foot. That slides a little deep, and this provides an opportunity for a triple takeout here. Just hitting half of that rock. in front of the rings. So this is Klara Svatnova.
Well, a little bit inside with this one, I think. Is she going to get 2 or just the 1? 2.
She gets 2, and that's a huge shot. I know it overcurled. They were looking to take out 3 Korean stones, but this gives some options for them. It opens up a side of the ice. They can use that shooting stone, the running stone that was there, as a run back opportunity. Another good look at young Klara Svatnova.
And the Czech team do their practice in the curling club in Prague. Beautiful 4-sheet curling club. Have you been there?
I have not. I would love to go to Prague and to see that curling club. That's one of the few places I've not been.
Well, it's now a little bit more than 10 years old, but it's a fantastic facility, and it was the catalyst for Central European or East of Central European curling for some time. And a lot of these new countries who started in the former East Europe have built little facilities.
Well, I'm sure that club is one of the great reasons why the Czech Republic has a team here at the World Championships. There are fantastic curling clubs all over the world, and they would love to have a team playing in this event. Only 12 countries get to play in this event, and there's 53 nations around the world who are curling, and I'm sure all of them would like to have a team here. So that beautiful club in Prague that I hope to see one day has got to be large reason why this team is here competing today.
And this is Karel Kubeska, who is the big leading light of curling in Czech Republic over all these years, and father of the skip here, Anna Kubeskova.
Karl and Anna also competed at the mixed doubles world championships together as a father-daughter combination. I think they did that twice. So they've elected that the best result here is to play a double peel. So Klara Svatnova will be asked to throw another takeout down essentially the same line as she just played.
Well, again, just trying to move more than one.
And
well, great shot.
Great shot. I think I would imagine the conversation between father and daughter there for the Czech Republic was that as much as she'd like to score 2, she has to score 1 in order to keep this game going and to stay alive to play an extra end.
Yes, that's absolutely true. She must be sure of getting 1 point.
And fourth stones, Unchi Jim for Team Korea. Trying to throw a guard here. Protect the counting stone on the top button. This looks like it's a little deep. Sliding into the rings. So Anna Kubeskova now having to go for another double. So the way these stones are positioned, this gives Anna a bit of an opportunity to maybe generate her deuce. She might have to play 2 doubles or a delicate tap weight shot, but if she plays the... It's curling a little much for what I was thinking, but...
Well, not the result she needed at that point, really. And she had to dislodge that one off the button, really. Otherwise, this next shot is going to be a real tough one for her to make the single point.
Yeah, in particular, if the Korean team puts another rock in front of it at all, she will be drawing around a rock, top button, to grab part of the center pinhole in the scoring area.
기다려. 여덟 안 돼. 여기 있어. 많이 룸이야. 기다려.
So last stone of the end for Korea here.
Unchi Jim's stone coming down.
Well, needs to curl a little bit more. Oh, just an edge on the guard there. My goodness me.
Now the question is whether or not it's in a pretty good spot, Richard.
She was a bit fortunate with that.
Yeah, it looked like it might have grabbed a bit of a flat spot across that sliding surface or something. It curled, just looked like it grabbed maybe something a little bit and spun.
I think it just touched the yellow guard.
Okay,
stone.
did
just
it?
got a feather off that and came to lie neatly in front of the other one. And the problem here for Kubiskova is if she went for the double takeout, her shooter would roll too far perhaps and leave that backstone of the Koreans in the counting spot. So that's why they're looking at the draw to pinpoint accuracy. But
Whichever shot she selects is going to have to be absolutely perfect. If she plays the double, she has zero margin for error. If she plays the draw, she has zero margin for error with how this is played out.
Ne, my potřebujeme tam zůstat a hlavně rolovat trošku, takže bude chtít 10.
So
9,5, 10.
Anna's elected to throw a clockwise rotating shot as the lefty skip. She's playing a double takeout. She needs to get just to the high side of nose.
And just playing a controlled weight to try and make sure she gets the roll perfectly.
And just a little too much. Didn't curl enough.
Needed to curl a little bit more. Hoped to take the two out and retain her shooter into shot position for the single point. But as it turns out, she halves it out, rolls out herself and gives up two more shots. Korea winning the last game on the ice this morning, 8 shots to 5.
And our feature game, Denmark versus Sweden. In the fifth end, Team Denmark, after some excellent shots by Team Sweden, was forced to take a single point with a draw to the 8-foot, executed nicely by skip Madeline Dupont from Denmark. And then the seventh end, the shot of the tournament by fourth stones thrower Maria Pritz plays a double run back takeout to sit buried underneath 2 guards. And that would end up being a steal of 1. And we get a look at Madeline Dupont's last stone here. She's going to try and remove that stone by Sweden and just over curls a hair and touches the guard. So a steal of 1 and a disappointed skip from Team Denmark. We move into the 8th end and you see the handshakes between the teams and the final score today in our feature match, Sweden 7, Denmark 2. final scores for our other games today. Russia wins 10-4 over Team Scotland. Korea, as we just saw, took an 8-5 win over the Czech Republic. Latvia falls to Canada, 4-8. And our standings are: Switzerland remains undefeated and will hit the ice this afternoon. Canada, 5-1, tied with Sweden at 5-1. And then a logjam, Korea, Russia, followed by the United States, Scotland, and then the bottom of our field, everyone needing wins down there.
Well, Margarita, tell me about the game-changing shot in that end.
Well, we had a really bad end there, and we had not so many good options, but I think we chose the right one. Our coach came and gave us a good advice, and Maria made the shot. So, yeah, that was good.
It certainly was good. And the three-pointer earlier on, that was a good one too.
Yeah, that was nice. Maria likes those shots, and yeah, it was good.
And with the happy smiling face of Margareta Sigfridsson-Skip from the Team Sweden, we thank you for joining us today here from Harbour Station in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada at the 2014 World Women's Curling Championships.